Greetings, everybody. This is Medicine Man. We're live and we're talking about the book. We're talking about spiritual possessions and obsessions. For a long time, I wanted to get on Spreaker and talk about a few things and get on a few issues and just kind of elaborate with everybody about some of the ideas and methodologies and perception of low country hoodoo. Because for the most part, we've been having discussions amongst ourselves about what is hoodoo and removing the stigma of the appropriated versions and appropriated teachings of hoodoo out of the original ancestral culture, and for us to rediscover the notions of what it is to practice ancestral roots, ancestral root working, and how to tap into your ancestral powers. You know what I mean? The ancestral powers are definitely hidden within us. And this is something that we develop methodologies and techniques on how to reveal the power that's really within you to make manifestations happen. A lot of times we are just we are just consumed with the notions. Everybody has a notion. Trust me, everybody. It's like an opinion. You know, everybody has a notion on what's going to work for everybody. But in reality, when we put together our root working is specific to us. And this is why a lot of us can't manifest the things we're trying to manifest. And that's primarily because we're using techniques and methods that our spirit is not trained to receive and magnify, because we're following the techniques that were created within the consciousness of someone else. And because those techniques and methods were created within the consciousness of someone else, we don't know the context on which that spiritual remedy was revealed to that person. We don't know. So when we go and we emulate that technique and those practices, what happens is we ultimately try to mirror the effect that person did, try to mirror it. But you really can't, because you don't know. When you look at a ritual from the outside surface perspective, you only see the physical representations of a ritual. And this is why I tell people a lot about, when they look at pictures online and they look at other people pretty much posting, quote unquote, so-called their work. And I do the same also. But what we have to understand is that when you see some candles lit, when you see some cards down, when you see some powders down, and you see other objects, that's not even 1% of the work that the person is doing just because they took a picture. And this is why emulating other people's work or emulating what you see physically from the ritual perspectives is not a good thing. Because if you emulate, for example, if I post a picture or something, and then someone else goes and say, well, I'm doing the prosperity work, and you see that they have emulated something that I've done, then the question is, do you know the context on why that ritual was placed together like that from what you was looking at? Do you know the type of spirits that I was communicating with when that ritual was created? You see? So these are the reasons why we shouldn't emulate what we see others do. And it's a strong reason why we should create from within our own selves by connecting with the elemental forces, by knowing the methodologies of the laws of the universe. Everything has laws. There's a law of the land, there's a law of the self, and there's a law of the universe. And within those laws, there are principles that should be followed. And if those simple principles, and in most cases I say it's simple, but in most cases it's not. But within those principles, what we find is the blueprint of manifestations. A lot of us have done research, and we've looked at the Hermetic laws, the 7 Hermetic laws, and it is even more. But we look at the Hermetic laws and we say, well, what are the Hermetic laws? The Hermetic laws, for the most part, are the laws of manifestations, the laws of magic, the laws of voodoo, the laws of hoodoo, the laws that kind of predates the majority of the African sciences that we're dealing with now. And because those laws that came out of our ancient societies set the precedent for a lot of things a lot of traditions and a lot of spiritual practices that we're doing now, it's important to understand those laws. It's very important to understand them. Because once we understand, then we'll know when we put our ritual work together how to maneuver around obstacles. Because within everything, there's an obstacle. Trust me, we'll get to that later. What I really wanted to talk about in this discussion is about possession and obsession. In African traditions, for the most part, we understand that there is a phenomenon that consists of being possessed. When we working with spirits, when we conjuring spirits, when we call and invoking these spirits, there is a process of possession that actually happens. In this process, many spiritualists become possessed and they receive higher level information from other realms. And they bring this information down and they give it to their client or give it to whoever is there during the possession. Now, in life, we become so obsessed with certain things that we want, certain desires, certain inclinations. We become so obsessed with it that we become possessed by it. And what that means is that we put all our efforts, we put all of our conscious thoughts, we put all of our actions, everything about us supports that. You see? And we become obsessed with it because we pour so much time, so much emotions, so much thought into a specific thing that we become obsessed with it. And that obsession activates possession. You know, and it's just like smoking cigarettes. I know many of us, we try to kick that cigarette habit. But why can't we kick the habit consciously? Why can't we just wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? I'm done with it. I ain't smoking no more cigarettes or whatever. The issue is that we develop a chemical dependency. Okay? And that chemical dependency it even magnifies and becomes stronger, so we can't defeat it because it's chemically motivated as well as emotionally and psychologically motivated. And this is how we become obsessed with habits. We can't defeat the habit because primarily we stuck in a situation where the habit went from being a mental obstacle, went from being a mental blockage to being a chemical one. So now our remedy that we would have to use to combat that sickness would have to be chemically based, which is your herbal treatment, and it has to be spiritual based, which is your ritual treatment, working together in unison to resolve the issue. You see, this is how obsession does you. You know, being obsessed with something. And most of us, you know, some of us, we get obsessed with situations. We get obsessed with people and things. You know, there are many of us that have food obsessions. And every time we see something to eat, we're hungry. Because that mental impression, remember, whatever we hold in our mind mentally, strong, and we add emotion to it, your body becomes chemically dependent. You see, anytime we hold a very strong emotion, our body excretes chemicals, hormones, enzymes that support the emotion. So if you're feeling stressed, your body is going to emit these chemicals, these enzymes, these hormones to support stress, which is going to bring down your bodily functions, where your mind won't operate at its highest capacity. Your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, your bladder, nothing is going to operate at its highest capacity. You see? Now, when I say that people can be obsessed with something in the same aspect that you can be possessed by a spirit, it's real. Because that phenomenon happens deep within your mind. when you make a mental connection to something, when you add an emotional connection to that, and then your body creates a chemical circumstance for this thing to stay in existence, now you have a form of possession. You're possessed with a bad behavior. You're possessed with this habit. You see? And the important part about possession is to understand that spirits possess people. Yes, they do. But spirits also can possess you in the form of a bad habit. Spirits can also possess you in the form of a bad act. Now, you know, many times we have done things in our life that we done them things in a state of anger or extreme enjoyment. And then we look back and be like, oh, hell, damn. Did I do that? Did I do that? You know? And, you know, for the most part, when you do things and you're angry, you know, you're in a situation where you got to own that shit. You know what I mean? You're like, damn, I got to embarrass myself and own it. Why? Well, because you actually did it. But you did it in an elevated, possessed state of mind where different realities could come out of you. And this is why people say things in arguments that they normally would not say in a normal state of mind. Because being in an elevated emotional state is a form of possession. You become an open channel when you become elevated emotionally. And that could and that can stand for anger and being upset, as well as it can stand for extreme excitement. You know what I mean? You can be very, very happy and get possessed, get jumped by a spirit, because you become an open channel in extreme emotional states. And this is why having that balance, being calm, cool, and collective is very important. This is just some jewels that I wanted to drop on you guys on possession and obsession. I hope that you guys can listen to this and learn a few things. This is Medicine Man, and pretty soon I'm going to be having my classes back up and running. It should give me about 2 weeks. And we're going to be having the Swamp Water Roots Institute and class is going to be set up. For people that followed me and attended my last classes, y'all know how we did then. Y'all going to see how we're going to do again. It's going to be very informational. We're going to pack it up with a lot of good things. We got some great teachers that's going to come through and help the Swamp Water Institute. And if you're interested in joining my class, if you're interested in joining my private Discord chat group, definitely give me an email at medicine-mail, medicine-mail, medicine-mail21@gmail.com. And give me an email and tell me, hey, Medicine Man, I want to join the class. I want to get in the Discord group. And we'll add you to the list so you can enjoy the movement as we move on and as we pretty much go forward with our research and our practice and educating people about root working and ancestors and things like that. So y'all stay tuned. This is Medicine Man. I appreciate the time and you guys listening. MedicineMail21@gmail for any inquiries about the class and any inquiries about the book. The book is definitely on Amazon, Working Them Roots. And I will see you guys later. I'll be back and I'll be on YouTube later tonight. We'll be discussing some more things, all right? Y'all take care. This is Medicine Man. I appreciate you guys listening to Swamp Water Roots Radio. And here we go. Peace. Blessings.